I think it's time somebody talk about these Spotify promo companies that are bombarding naive artists and producers coast to coast on all social platforms, email, and here on YouTube. What's going on, guys? Adam Ivy, sellmusic.com, here to help you go further, faster in your music career by sharing proven marketing techniques and strategies to help transform that passion for making music and turn it into a legitimate business that's going to provide you with freedom and fulfillment, two of the most important things in life in general. Now, it's been brought to my attention, and it's really no surprise because this has been going on for a while, that the Spotify playlist scammers are in full force. I've had a lot of early on beginner artists and producers sending me DMs asking, hey, have you heard of this guy? Have you heard of this service? Should I do it? Hey, this person ripped me off for $60, $30, $150, you name it. So it's something that I have to give my 2 cents on and then try to give you guys some indicators to stay away from the less than savory characters out there. Now, first and foremost, what I'm talking about is services, usually faceless profiles that are DMing you, or a face, somebody who has a profile photo that looks like it's a stock image from iStock Photo or whatever, saying, hey, I really like your music. It's super generic. It's a copy and paste thing. I like your music, but you don't have any plays on Spotify. It's these predators that are trying to put you in a position of feeling defensive, feeling like you're not accomplishing anything, feeling like a loser, feeling like you need them, right? So they look at it and they're like, hey, you need to be boosting with Spotify. Everybody's doing it. So they go after low-tier creators who don't have a huge following, that haven't been in the game very long, that haven't found any success yet, or the successes that they have found, they try to minimize those by saying like, oh, you're not getting any streams, you're not going to get discovered, this and that, to try to position them mentally into thinking that you or I then need their help to magically unlock this cheat code that's going to give you tons of streams on Spotify for no money, right? So a lot of times these services, you go and look at all their profiles on Facebook or Instagram, and it's just like promo post after promo post after promo post. Looks like the cheapest Photoshop thing ever. It'll be like a lady on a cell phone that is clearly from like a stock photo and a bunch of prices on one side. It'll say like 10,000 plays for $30 or streams, 50,000 streams for $45, like X amount of streams for X amount of dollars. Now, what they'll tell you is that everybody is doing it. All the major artists are doing it. You need to do this in order to become relevant, this and that, blah, blah, blah. You get the picture. The issue with this is those of you who don't know any better might think that this is actually how it is. They'll say, oh, it's pay to play these days. If you're not paying for plays, you're going to lose, you're behind, or like whatever. That's not the case. And a lot of times I've heard that people have gotten scammed out of money significantly more than it would actually cost them to learn about marketing themselves. So often I talk to young artists and young producers. I'm 34, so I'm not exactly old, but you get what I'm saying. Younger kids that are in high school, maybe just graduated, and they're eager to make a name for themselves. They feel like the clock is running, the clock is ticking, and they're running out of time day after day. In fact, some of my students sometimes kind of get a little bit paranoid about this type of stuff, even if they're only in their mid-20s or early 30s. And trust me, guys, side note, you have plenty of time depending on what your goals are. So keep that in mind. Anyway, that's for a different video. Now, a few things to recognize when it comes to the reasons that we don't want to pay for streams is if you have a Spotify Spotify for Artists profile, which you can just go to artist.spotify.com. You can sign up for that. It's free. You could see all of your analytics over on Spotify and really break this down. I've dealt with this with dozens, if not hundreds of students to really see what's working and kind of ramp up their success when it comes to playlists and stuff. I mean, I teach all of this in my programs, but what I'm getting at here is that you don't want to boost those numbers because then it's going to ruin your organic understanding of who actually is listening to your music. Second of all, Spotify, believe it or not, Spotify has entire teams, and distributors have entire teams that are going through and sifting through the fake streams. Why? Because if they don't catch them early enough, then they're paying for streams that are fake. Now, you might instantly think like, oh, those fake streams, I can actually get paid for those. No, not exactly, because there's a gestation period, a waiting period before you actually get paid for these, that Spotify goes through and verifies that, hey, these are real, nothing's fishy. The issue is if you go out and pay for fake streams on Spotify, that's what we're talking about here. Welcome to the video. there's a very good chance that your account is going to get banned, and then your IP is going to be linked to that, to where your email and everything, no matter how much you try, it's going to be very difficult to set up different profiles to then use Spotify, no matter who the distributor is, because they're going to say, oh, it's this guy. It's that guy. It's Sneaky Pete over here who's paying for streams. It's going to be more difficult. I mean, anything is possible when you really put your mind to something, but you shouldn't have to, right? Now, the issue is here, usually these scammers have no guarantee on what you're actually going to do. Another scam within this realm is that they tell you, oh, you need backlinks. Oh, you need to get your music out there and post it all over the place. And what we'll do is, for X amount of dollars, we'll go and we'll share your music, a link to your music or an article about your music, to all these different blog sites, right? To 800 blogs or whatever the number is that is trying to entice you. Now, the issue here is that if you go out and you pay that, first of all, how are you going to verify that? What I would do, just kind of a verification, due diligence type of thing, is anytime anyone ever says that, hey, for this amount of money, we're going to place your not your ad, but we're going to place your article, we're going to place your link, place your backlink on this many blogs. Say, okay, well, what are some of the blogs that you've placed these links before, and can you send me some examples? Or can you give me some testimonials from people that you've worked with before, so you can check it out and make sure that they're legitimate, or maybe even talk to that person and say, like, hey, what was your experience with this company? Anytime a student comes to me and says, hey, Adam, who have you worked with? What is their experience? I have no problem sending them over to one of my former students, or giving them a video such as you guys have seen here with the student spotlight videos. Way more of those coming here in the very near future. Anyway, what you need to be able to do is you need to be able to check what they're saying, right? Hey, I can get you on this many blogs. Well, what kind of blogs? Or are they just going and sending out bots to add your link to some forum somewhere about Toyota tuner cars that has like nothing to do with your music? That's really what the example's set up for. This is an issue, guys. So whether it's trying to get more streams, trying to boost your numbers with these bot farms, because that's essentially what they're doing. A lot of times they're going to mask this with saying that you're going to get X amount of real streams. What does that mean? How are they placing this? Because you know damn well that if you go out and spend $50 on legitimate Facebook ads, or Instagram ads for that matter, or YouTube pre-roll ads, they're not going to get you 50,000 streams. So the low money in conjunction with the high amount of streams should be a red flag. If it seems too good to be true, with some guaranteed result, with you not having to put in any work, it's probably a red flag for you to say, yeah, this seems a little bit fishy. At least look into it a little bit more. I'm not here to say that every single person that has a legitimate advertising agency, marketing agency, promotion company is ripping people off. That's not the case. But a lot of you guys are saying, oh, Adam, you have this program, or you have this, or this other guy has a program, or there's this book that I recommended. And they're like, oh, well, for $30 for a book, I'd rather go and spend $30 and get 100,000 streams on my Spotify. Like, I'm not here to roast you on being lazy. Just so many of you guys were in the gym for a week now, and you think that, going and buying some steroids from this guy behind the trash cans of the gym is magically going to give you a physique where you're going to be the next Ronnie Coleman or professional bodybuilder. You're going to be Arnold, right? It doesn't work like that. There's no magic pill. Even these industry plants, like, I'm not going to name names, but they come in, they're a nobody, they didn't really build up their own buzz. The labels will milk them for everything that they're worth and kind of kick them to the curb once they've gotten past their freshness point, their expiration date. That's a whole different story. I'm not going to get into that. I'm getting off topic here. What I'm getting at is even those individuals still put in work. All these people like to look for these justifications on why their music isn't working. They're like, oh, it has to be pay for play. Oh, these people have to be paying for streams. There's a chance, just putting it out there, guys, there's a chance that you're not to the point where your music is good enough for a huge audience to be interested in it. So many times we fall in love with a work and we're like, this is so good. This is going to be my breakout single. This is going to be my breakout beat. I know that I'm going to be able to get Drake on this. I'm going to be able to get Beyonce or Jay-Z, like whoever, like Ed Sheeran is going to be interested in this beat because it's so dang good. But the reality is if you place it next to everybody else that's in the market, it might not stand out And there's a good chance of that might be why it's not streaming to the potential, true potential that you think it might not require, but deserve, right? Now, I'm not here to ridicule music quality because, I mean, music is very subjective, but what I'm getting at is when there's a person out there saying that in a short period of time, you can go from 0 to 100 with just a few dollars. It doesn't work like that, especially if you're not doing retargeting ads, if you don't understand how to target your audience, if you don't understand how to build anticipation, launch a product as far as your music and a new release goes, and have a strategy for that. Which that's what this channel's for, is to try to understand and get you a little bit more organized and strategic with your purpose-driven music marketing. Now, another thing I see time and time again is that when these scammers reach out, because they've done it to me and I have a whole lot of fun when they do, because I just mess around like I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, oh, really? How much? Well, what happens if I give you $2,000? Like, I see how far they go, but the thing is, when you cut them off, I've had to block so many of these dipshits because when you cut them off, you're like, I'm not interested, or hey, no thanks, or you ask them for credentials, you ask them for some testimonials, or even like proof of what they're doing. They start getting really, really nasty with you, and then they start trying to pressure you into coming off some money, right? They become high pressure salesmen, sleazy used car salesmen. Not all car salesmen are sleazy by any means, but what I'm getting at is they start insulting you. Oh, fine, then I guess you're not going to go anywhere with your music. No, your music's trash anyway, right? This is an issue to where they try to insult you and they try to break you down. It's like an abusive relationship where they try to break you down, and then they'll be like, well, look, hey, with this $30 investment, you can do this, right? But what you're literally doing is you're going and playing the lottery with your own music career. And is that worth it? To maybe get your account banned, maybe boost up all these numbers, and then when you start taking it more seriously and you start building an audience that you're proud of, those numbers don't compare to the ones you paid for. Therefore, you feel like a failure, even though your audience is way more engaged and you've built this organic following of fans that actually care about what you're doing, but you're now comparing it to numbers that you paid for. Hashtag video indigestion. Back at it again. This is the issue, guys. If somebody's going to try to make you feel bad for what you're doing, if you're reaching out for help or if they've reached out for help, they probably don't have your best interest at heart. If you're going out and looking for shortcuts, the magic pill, as I call it, you're probably not going to go very far until you mature. No different than a super overjealous boyfriend at 17 probably, hopefully, becomes a better man and a better husband at 35, for example. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, is this just for the dopamine hit? Is this just to feel cool? Is this just for me to feel more validated in what I do? Am I going to feel cool? Am I going to feel like I'm a success knowing that these numbers are fake? You got to understand, guys, when they're saying real followers, like, don't be a fucking idiot. Like, don't be a freaking idiot on this stuff, guys. If it seems way too good to be true, if they can take you, who literally have 5 monthly listeners on Spotify right now with one song that you released last October, and they're telling you that you can get 50,000 streams in the next 6 days, like, no. Just no. Simple as that. Do things the right way. Build up a following organically. Know who your people are. Know who you are. And be consistent with your releases. If you've released 2 songs in the last 2 years or 2 songs in the last 5 years, and you're impatient and you're saying, oh, this isn't for me, it's because you're not doing enough work and you have failed to identify that as your issue rather than blaming the world for this. I know that I have a lot of videos where I have tough love and this and that, but once you understand marketing strategy, when you can reach out, when you know your target audience, when you know your brand narrative, when you know how to build an inbound marketing funnel to where you have an ecosystem built around what you're doing, your brand, your message, your music, things aren't nearly as hard as these haters that don't have any momentum will want you to believe it is. There's a lot of good resources out there in the library, on YouTube, some podcasts, big news on that coming soon, that are here to help you get in the right direction. You don't want to go to a scammer that's going to try to get you to pay $30 to get a bunch of Spotify streams. No different than you don't want to go to somebody who's going to say, hey, I can get you 100,000 views on that video. Then come to find out that all they did was run a few bots to it and you have 17 comments with 100,000 views. We don't want to be that guy or that gal or that music creator. It's a lot better way to put it. Let me know if you've ever been contacted by one of these scammers, these people that sell you on a Spotify boost or a YouTube boost or whatever. They say, hey, for $15, I'll add your music to an email that's going out to 800,000 people. Like, go fuck yourself, buddy. You're not going to do anything for me besides hold me back. Let me know in the comments if you've ever been contacted, and I want to hear your most funny story when it comes to the interaction, whether it's them insulting you, whether it's you getting ripped off. I'm not saying that's funny, but I want to know about it in the comments below. If you're someone who runs an ad agency or a marketing firm, or you have a Spotify company that is legitimate, let me know about that as well. No links, please, because those get held for review. In the comments below, I want to know what you're doing to build your audience, what you're doing to kind of position yourself with strategy that's going to make 2020 the biggest year ever in your career, musically, personally, lifestyle, financially, all of that. And after you're done doing that, click on this video so you can go to the next level as far as your marketing digitally here on YouTube. I want you guys to succeed, so click on that little subscribe button and smash that bell icon to be notified first anytime I upload a video just like this for the algorithm. Have a thumbs up for me. Come connect with me over on Instagram. And until next time, I appreciate you watching.